Cool. So today I wanted to talk about getting in the best shape of your life. I think it's something that I've had a bunch of questions on after going through the transformation that I've been through since lockdown. I'll try and find some photos of me with very long hair, a very long beard, and definitely a bit of a gut. And I don't mean that to be overly self-deprecating, but it definitely had got to being a bit of a gut after all the bourbons and beers I consumed in 2020. So yeah, I really turned it around, wanted to share kind of what that process looked like for me, and then ultimately what it could look like for you. So the start's going to be a little bit of story time, and then at the end I'm going to get into some tips, and then the last, I think there's 5 tips, and the fifth one I think is the one to be most excited about, and one that I think is what a lot of people get wrong when they're trying to change their habits. So yeah, excited for you to hear that one. But yeah, as far as my journey, so yeah, in 2020, I'd got to a really tough place mentally and obviously physically too, where I was just, my diet was bad. The extent of my workouts was like 5 pull-ups in every, like once every 2 weeks. And so I really needed to change something. But basically what happened was I was continuously like giving myself a really hard time about not being more, like not working out more, going for more runs and doing all this stuff. But that never created action for me. So I just got into this cycle where I was like being really mean to myself and saying like, you're a piece of shit, like why are you not going out for a run, why are you not like eating healthy, you're like gaining weight by the day. And yeah, and I wasn't taking action, so it was just a cycle. And so around, like what really helped me was there was a time around towards the end of the lockdown, I think towards the end of 2020, where I was just like, this is the experience that I'm going through right now. Like no one's ever, none of us had ever been through that before, and so I'm gonna cope with it the way I need to cope with it, because I think I'd back vaping at the time, and yeah, like I said, I was just doing pull-ups. I think I did some basketball, not even workouts, just running around, just shooting a basketball for a little while, which doesn't burn many calories. So yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna cope with this however I need to cope with it. And then when I got out of that, I was like, okay, things need to change right now. And so just to share quickly like the steps and like the journey, and I'll try and keep this as concise as possible. Basically, I've just found something that I really enjoyed. I realized I'd played hockey from about the age of 5, or I was skating at 5, and played hockey till about 22, 23. Like that was the only sport that I ever did. And so I really, really craved like something exciting to do, like just going to the gym and working out for aesthetics just didn't really do it for me. So I always wanted to do rock climbing, and so I did that. And so when I moved to Birmingham, to a place called Solihull, and I moved into a house share, and I kind of picked that one because it was a 5-minute walk and literally round the corner from a climbing centre, so I knew I could just go there. There was a low barrier to entry, I could just go there as much as I wanted to, and that's what I did. I got a membership there, started going like 3 times a week, and then it turned into 4 or 5 times a week, and it probably turned into 7 times a week. I have a very addictive personality, so it was bound to happen. And then yeah, through climbing, obviously I got in much better shape, especially my upper body. I got like much stronger. I was really pushing myself. They had a little gym upstairs, so I'd started to do some more pull-ups, some muscle up work, which is again a goal I'd wanted to do for absolutely ages but never did it. So yeah, I was just building up. I wasn't doing, I took sports science in college, but I've never been one that like was super up on what to do for workouts and stuff, so I just kept it super simple. I was doing just like dips, pull-ups, and just body weight stuff on top of like the climbing sessions that I was doing. And then I found a PT through that. I think I went to one of his classes that was more of a calisthenics class, and I worked with him for probably 3 or 4 months. I think the reason that I started was I wanted to get back in shape to play hockey in the September, so this was around like the summertime of 2021, I believe. And so yeah, that's what I did, but it ended up that I decided I didn't want to go back to hockey. I didn't want the pressure of it, and so he was really, really well versed in Olympic weightlifting, so he'd started to teach me some of that. It's something that I'd seen a little bit of and was quite excited by, and also I'd been looking at a bunch of CrossFit stuff, watching the CrossFit Games, so that's what I wanted to get into. So yeah, he started to teach me, and it's very tough to learn Olympic lifting. You just have to do it with the bar and just learn the movement, and sometimes just with a PVC pipe, which could feel a bit demoralizing to just be like holding a PVC pipe and doing clean and jerks and snatches with that. But that's what happened. And then I was very lucky that my friend that I met in the house share, we'd gone on some runs together and done some stuff. He always takes the piss out of me because we went for a run through the town centre once, and it was like 30 degrees in my defence, but I took my shirt off, and so we were getting some weird looks from people, and so he always just rips me for that and says I'll take any opportunity to take my shirt off, but why not if you're in good shape? And so yeah, he works for Gymshark. He got me access to the Gymshark gym through like being an associate essentially and being his +1. And so that gym is one of the best gyms in the UK, in Europe, maybe even the world, like in terms of how it's kitted out and even the coaches in there. So I started to do some classes when I first joined that, and that's when I kind of found CrossFit, which was when I'd already been in pretty good shape when I first started climbing. I'd probably need to lose a bit of weight, but my upper body was better, my arms were coming back, obviously my lats and my back was getting much stronger from climbing. And then once I started doing the CrossFit, which is a lot of high rep stuff, there was a lot of learning and technique involved, but a lot of the like conditioning and other exercises, just high reps with relatively, you know, moderate to light weights. And so I started to get a lot of hypertrophy and get much bigger, which at that point in time was probably the best shape of my life. And I think it happened over kind of 3 or 4 months where I was eating pretty well. Because of CrossFit, I was burning a lot of calories, and so I was almost struggling to eat enough food to replace what I was burning from the workouts. I'll be very open, I definitely got addicted to the gym. I was going 6 times a week, 6 days a week, sometimes twice in one day, which obviously is not realistic for some people and definitely wasn't a good idea for me, because I'd sacrificed work a little bit to do that. So I definitely don't recommend that, but yeah, it was a good process. I think every like part of your life has a different season, and sometimes you really want to focus on your finances, sometimes you really want to focus on your health. And so for me, it was a season where I really need to go into just focusing on my health and my, you know, fitness and gym journey. So that's what I did, and then ultimately the best part of CrossFit for me was the Olympic lift. So skipping forwards, I did that for about 1.5 years, and just recently I've started to get back into more CrossFit workouts, and I would say I'm probably at the best shape that I've been now. I've got the most muscle that I've ever had, and probably the lowest body fat percentage, but we'll see. And yeah, I'll put in the thumbnail hopefully a picture of me from lockdown, a picture of me just after lockdown, and then kind of what I looked like a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, now let's get into tips. That is enough of story time. I'll probably put timestamps in this video, so hopefully you can skip to this point. But yeah, number one, and probably most important, is diet. So what are you going to do about diet? What's the best way to stop snacking, eating shit, and like start like losing some weight? Because that's ultimately what we want to do. And the number one thing, and this is something that I think people, like women and men, kind of get wrong, that the best way to lose weight is to build muscle. So for those who don't know, holding a lot of muscle is extremely expensive. I don't just mean monetarily to buy food, but for your body from a caloric point of view, your body burns like a significantly higher number of calories at rest. They call it your like basal metabolic rate. But basically, if you did nothing all day, how many calories would you burn? And so yeah, your body's obviously keeping alive all this muscle. So if you build muscle, it will make it easier for you to lose weight. So I do recommend that you, if you are looking to lose weight, get a six-pack or do any of that stuff, that you do put into your workout regime something that is going to help you build muscle. Don't just do, you know, running cardio like exclusively, unless that's what you're training for. Yeah, personally, like there's definitely some gaps in the advice I'm going to give you, because I've never counted calories or macros or done any of that stuff. I'm very keen on like making sure that I do eat a balanced diet, and yeah, I like to keep things pretty simple. Someone once said to me that the principles of diet and exercise are just to eat when you're hungry and sleep when you're tired, and so that's pretty much what I do. But going into this, there was some specific stuff that I did when I was getting back in better shape that I wanted to share with you. So the number one thing is environment design, which this is what I would say is the advice that a lot of people get, is to not use your willpower, is to use environment design, which means like not buying the cookies at the shop so that they're not in the house and the temptation is not there. I even used to drive a different way home from work. There was only like a 2 minutes added on so that I didn't drive past a shop that I would nip into to get sweets and chocolate from, because I am like a cookie monster, and like sweets I'm like murder for as well. And yeah, there's even stuff you could do like buying smaller t-shirts so that you're like pushed to the point that you need to start losing weight. So it's just kind of in like creating an environment that makes it easier for you to eat healthier and get in better shape. So it could be like getting some workout equipment, just like building like a little gym. You just need a couple of like dumbbells, some bands, maybe a pull-up bar that goes over the doorway, and then the barrier to you working out is much lower. You haven't got to get changed, drive 15 minutes to the gym, like figure out what you're going to do. You can just literally walk into your garage, walk into your bedroom, and just start cracking on. So yeah, I've written an article that kind of goes with this, so and I've definitely gone into more detail in that, so I'll link that in the comments in case you want to check that out. And yeah, like I've put in this article that it's much easier for me because I'm a single guy. I can just do a lot of lifestyle design. That means that I do eliminate the stuff that's going to tempt me and going to make it an issue for me. And obviously, if you have an initiative that you're not going to eat any cookies, but your wife buys them from shopping, what you're going to do, or if you start eating your kids' snacks, which I know some people that do that too, yeah, there's not a lot you can do about that, which is where the second thing comes in that I want to talk about. And so willpower is something that I've always thought and been taught, like, don't use it. You don't need to use your willpower. It's like it's a finite thing. It's going to run out. And so, you know, like because I've quit vaping probably 2 or 3 times right now, and quit a lot of other bad habits. And so this is the thing that's always been a struggle, is willpower. But when things started really turning around for me as far as losing weight was when I did start to employ willpower. Because before I would just like do a cop out and just say I've designed my life like the best that I can to not eat this stuff, but like if I feel like that, like that's how I'll reward myself. But when I started kind of making the sacrifice and using my willpower and saying no, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to deny myself that, that's when I really started to results really started to turn around. So yeah, where environment design fails, like willpower will need to step in, and it is a muscle that you need to build. So the more you use it, the more it will develop, and you'll be able to say no more often and to more things. So yeah, I think that's really key. Yeah, I think it's really key. So yeah, moving on to the next thing, which is sleep, which I am a big nerd for. After reading Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep, and at the same time I bought an Oura ring, which I don't wear anymore, which I can maybe talk about in another video. But basically it tracks your sleep during the night. So I was both learning about the benefits of sleeping and how to sleep better, and why basically if you don't sleep enough you're slowly killing yourself. And then I was tracking everything so I could see what effect the habits were having. If I take magnesium before bed, like what impact does that have? If I work up till 8:30 p.m. and then try to go to bed at 9, what happens then? If I play video games before I go to bed, what happens? If I'm on my phone before I go to bed, what happens? So yeah, tracking it was super good. So I think we've got 9 tips that I want to share here, and I'm going to keep these super brief. Like I said, the article's down in the description if you want to read this. But the biggest one is stick to a schedule. So that's number 1 on this list. Go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time, even on weekends. This is something I religiously do. So every night I'm in bed at 9 o'clock, read for half an hour, and then try to go to sleep at 9:30, and then I wake up at 7:30 the next day. Sometimes I have workouts at 7 a.m. and so I'll wake up at 6:23 on a couple of days a week, but other than that I consistently wake up at 7:30. So this is something that will really regulate your body, and it will understand and start releasing melatonin, which helps you go to sleep, and cortisol, which helps you wake up at the correct times based on when you're waking up and going to bed. If you change your routine a lot, your body won't know what's going on, and you'll like feel tired at work or in the afternoon, and you'll wake up feeling super groggy and like you need to go back to bed. So yeah, going to bed at the right time and waking up at the right time is super good. And even on weekends, which I know is super tough to do. Cool, I'll rattle through these other ones. Don't exercise late in the day. My rule is that I won't work out after 7 p.m. Like, it's just not worth it. Like, you'll be buzzing. I'm gonna break my own rule tonight because I'm gonna go to play ice hockey and not get off the ice until 10:30. But I know that it'll disrupt my sleep and I won't be able to get to bed until about 1 in the morning, because your body is just up. It's got adrenaline, it's got all these other chemicals that are not conducive to you going to sleep. The next one is avoid caffeine and nicotine. This is another one I'm super strict on, which is not having caffeine after 2 p.m. There are occasions where I'll have a decaf coffee in the afternoon if the opportunity like presents itself and it's important to me. But I definitely won't have caffeine after 2 p.m. and that goes for fizzy drinks, coffee, energy drinks, pre-workout, all that crap. So yeah, no caffeine after 2 p.m. and I promise you that you'll sleep better. Avoid alcohol before bed. This is one I'm not like teetotal. I know some people that are and that advocate for that. But one of the things that I enjoy most in life is having a beer with my dad, so I'll never give that up. Even if I want to do beers though, I do see an effect in my sleep, but I know it's coming, and I reduce the times that I drink. I probably drink maybe once every 2 months, something like that. And so yeah, it's really what's most damaging about alcohol is that it disrupts your REM sleep, which is when your brain basically repairs itself. So it cleans up all the neurons and all basically the waste products that are created from your neurons firing during the day. And if you don't get enough REM sleep, basically all that buildup is still in your brain, and then it's just being added to the next day. And obviously you can imagine the function of your brain is significantly reduced when that happens. So super important to get enough REM sleep. Alcohol disrupts that, so it's not good. And even if you say that you get better sleep when you have a drink, it's not true. Often what happens is you'll go to sleep faster, but then your sleep will be disrupted throughout the night. So alcohol, almost never worth it. Then the next one is just avoid large meals and drinking lots of water late at night. So I never eat after 8 p.m. anything, and then I try and have my evening meal at 5:30, 6 p.m. Sometimes a little bit later. But yeah, I never eat it too late, and that's because you want to give your body time to digest it so that it's not digesting it when it's in bed. And then the same thing with water, I try and titrate it down. So I'll drink a load of water during the day, and then when it gets to about 7, 8 p.m. I'll start to drink less water, and then from 9 p.m. onwards I won't drink any, unless obviously I'm super thirsty, and then that will just mean that I won't be up in the night to go to urinate or go to the bathroom, which is helpful for you to get better quality sleep. This one pays me, but don't nap after 3 p.m. I absolutely love naps. I think I got my report from my sleep tracker, and I think I had 60 naps, in the last 90 days, which is a lot of naps. Or maybe it was 40, sorry. I'm exaggerating there. Yeah, 40 naps in the last 90 days, which is obviously a lot. I'm a huge proponent of naps. I think they're very helpful when utilised correctly, but I will never nap after 3 p.m. My dad knows that I always talk about the nap window and the nap window closing. So yeah, if I'm not basically napping, if it's any later than 2:30, I won't nap, because yeah, if I'm waking up any time past 3, it just can't happen, and it will disrupt my sleep at night. And you basically get in a negative cycle. If you nap too late, it affects your sleep at night, and then you'll feel less refreshed in the morning and kind of crave a nap. If you have another nap, it will again disrupt your sleep at night, and you get in this cycle where you're needing to have a nap every day. I've been there. Don't do it. You just need to, the way to break that cycle is just to not have a nap. So just long it up. Even if you get a post-lunch slump and feel super tired, just don't give into it. Try and drink plenty of water, and then yeah, just make it to night time, and then you'll kind of break the cycle there. Number 7 is make time to relax before bed, which is super crucial, because I've been in situations where I've worked a 12-hour day, it's 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and I'm just getting off my laptop, and then I just try and go to bed straight away, or I try and read for 15-20 minutes and then go to bed, and it just doesn't work, because your brain is active, and it's actively trying to solve problems that are being created at work. So yeah, I always try and I've just recently started sleeping with my phone outside of the room, which has been helping, but yeah, I always try and read half an hour before bed, even if it's just talking to your partner, or dimming the lights, or doing something to just kind of tell your brain hey, we're winding down right now, we're getting ready for bed, start releasing melatonin, let's go. Number 8 is kind of just a more of a novel one, but taking a hot bath before bed can really help if you're having some issues. Basically how this works is that your brain temperature needs to drop by 1 degree before you'll fall asleep. And when you take a hot bath, what happens is, as you'll see that you get flush and red, is because all of the blood is being drawn out closer to the skin. So when you get out of the bath, all the blood is closer to the skin, and you lose heat really rapidly. So if you get a hot bath, get out of bed, get out of the bath and into bed, then you'll start losing body heat really quickly, and hopefully find that you'll drift off to sleep much faster. And then the last one before we move into the meat and potatoes of programs and what to do at the gym is have a dark, cold, quiet, and gadget-free bedroom. So I'm pretty anal about having like blackout blinds in every room that I sleep in. It has a huge effect on me. The same thing with it being cold, and yeah, obviously quiet too, if that's possible. If you live near a road, then there's things like a white noise machine and different stuff you can do to kind of mitigate that noise. But the most important ones for me are just dark and cold, and so I'll strive for that in any situation. Obviously, the biggest thing you can do is get blackout blinds, not have like an alarm clock with lights on. Just get like a manual, like analog one, not have your phone in the bedroom, like just do everything to just remove light sources from your room so that it's just pitch black. So yeah, like I said, just recently I've just started charging my phone outside the bedroom, which is good, and it dissuaded me from going on it first thing in the morning, which is super helpful and definitely not good for your productivity. Cool, so yeah, this is kind of the meat and potatoes of this thing. And so when I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me what to do in the gym, and like, not to give them a program, but to give them some advice on what they should follow, I've kind of not had an answer for them, but I've kind of come up with one. And I think the biggest issue people face with anything when it comes to starting in the gym and being consistent is just that there's so much information out there. You could spend the next 10 years on YouTube looking at different workouts and should I do powerlifting or bodybuilding or CrossFit or whatever. And so I never normally issue edicts. It's not like something I like to do and like issue unsolicited advice, but in this case I would say that if you're struggling and not unsure on what to do, you should just do calisthenics. It's the thing that got me started. Climbing is technically calisthenics. And so, yeah, if you don't know what that is, it's basically just bodyweight exercises. So there's more progressions that you can do, but essentially when you start, it'll be pull-ups, push-ups, and squats. And then obviously you can progress the pull-ups into muscle-ups, and front levers and back levers and all that crazy stuff. You can develop the squats into doing pistol squats, which is essentially one-legged squats. That's something that features heavily in CrossFit. And then again, the push-ups, you can do different push-up variations, diamond push-ups, clapping push-ups, incline push-ups, all that fun stuff. And you can build a physique that you'd be proud of just doing that. So I've put a program that I've created in the comments below and in the description below that you can follow. It's super simple, but that's kind of what I wanted to do, and just take the guesswork out of it for you, and so you don't have analysis paralysis and you can just be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And yeah, again, part of this too is the perfectionism thing and trying to find like the perfect program, or this is what's going to get me in shape, and that's not how this is going to work. You're just going to take steps, you're going to get things wrong, you're going to not know what to do, but you're going to keep pushing through and keep taking action, and hopefully this program goes some way to helping you do that. Cool, and then I just had the last thing that I wanted to talk about, which I'm really passionate about, which is identity. And this is something that I've had a lot of thoughts about, both in business, work, personal development, career, relationships, everything. This is something that's been widespread and something that's continued to be, I don't want to say an issue, but continue to be a focus for me. And so this is what a lot of people put down as the issue with people smoking, not being able to lose weight, and all these other bad habits, is that they're trying to stop smoking. And so a perfect like encapsulation of this is if you're on a night out and your friend says, have a drink, have a beer, and your response is, no, sorry, like I'm trying not to drink. Whereas if somebody said that to me and said, hey, Billy, do you want a beer? And I say, no thanks, I don't drink. That's much different than trying not to drink. So which of those two people do you think is going to be the first to cave and have a beer? The person who's trying not to drink, or the person who doesn't drink, and that's part of their identity. So that's a good illustration of it. It applies to everything, and that's obviously the negative side. So you're like, well, okay, well, how does that actually work? And the part of this is hard because it is a pretty esoteric concept. But basically, what you need to do is see yourself as someone, and continue to affirm to yourself that you are the kind of person who goes to the gym all the time. You are someone that's in shape. You are someone that eats good, not someone who's trying to lose weight. And that's always the thing. And so you might say to me, like, you're in good shape, it's easy for you to think this, but this is what I had to tell myself at the beginning. So when I miss 3 days at the gym, I don't say, wow, I've fallen off the wagon, like I'm a piece of shit, like, oh, I'm never gonna get in shape. I go, no, I'm a regular gym goer, I go all the time, I've just taken a few days off. As soon as I go back, I'm going to get back to it, and there'll be no harm, no foul. And so that is much healthier thinking, and that's what you need to try and get into, however you do that. Whether you do affirmations to yourself, whether you talk to other people and talk in the present moment, like and just literally changing your language can be so powerful. Like I said in that example, rather than saying I'm trying not to drink, just say, oh, I don't drink, I don't smoke. If someone says, how's the gym going? It's like, yeah, great, I'm going regularly, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. Well, that stuff is super, super powerful. There's a book that's great on this, which is called Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. One that I've read a couple of times and recommended to people and given to people a lot. I don't think I have a copy right now because I gave my copy away. But basically, the long and short of it is he was a plastic surgeon, and what he found, and the basis of this book, is that he would do surgery on people, fix their nose or fix whatever complaint they had. Some people would see a massive change in their personality and their confidence, and others wouldn't. And so he was really, really intent on finding the reason for these two differences. And exactly what he found was what I've been describing in this, is that their identity, someone could have their nose fixed but still see themselves as someone with a big nose, and so they never experience any of the mental benefits or the confidence benefits, whereas someone could have a minor cosmetic surgery hair removal on their face or whatever, and see a massive change in themselves because they view themselves differently. So that's basically what you need to do throughout this process. Even before you see results, even before you start losing weight, you need to start seeing yourself differently. And you can do that by giving yourself credit for the actions, celebrating small wins, and doing all these things. There's a famous quote by Maxwell Maltz, which is that human beings always act and perform in accordance with what they believe to be true about themselves and their environment. And so that's the part that you need to come back to and remember, is you're not going to make these positive lifestyle changes unless you start seeing yourself differently. There's a great quote that my friend said, which was very wise. When I got in better shape, I started to tell him how women were looking at me differently and treating me differently. And his response to that was, they're treating you differently because they're seeing you differently because you're seeing yourself differently, which was such a truth. Is because I'd got in better shape and my confidence had gone up. That was projected to other people, and they could see that in me. So yeah, like I said, the program to follow, the calisthenics program, is going to be in the comments. If you have any questions on it, just give me a shout. But yeah, hopefully this has been valuable to you. Gone a bit longer than I wanted to. Story time went a bit longer than I wanted to, but yeah, hopefully this is helpful, and I'll speak to you soon.